friendos. You've got me, Ashley Sinclair, here talking about everything marketing for learning on the Marketing for Learning podcast. Today is, something that I've been mulling over a little bit because I've been recently working with a client, and last week we had their final project handover call, and it was a really wonderful experience because I could really clearly see where their mindset had shifted and where their thinking had evolved away from a purely learning lens to looking more through the eyes of a marketer. But one of the things that they said to me that I thought was just so obvious, but something that I don't know if we really kind of chat about enough on this podcast is the difference between communications and marketing. So I often will talk to L&Ders and they'll come to me and they'll say, we're doing campaigns on Learning at Work Week, or we're doing a campaign on our new leadership program, or we want to do a campaign on X, Y, or Z, whatever it might be. And then they start to describe to me what they've been doing on this campaign in inverted commas. And it's very evident that it is more of a communications plan than a marketing strategy. So I wanted to talk today about the difference between marketing and communications and why both things should be a component of your efforts in learning and development. So, in a nutshell, these two things are not the same. I think we naturally conflate the two. Marketing and communications is quite a common role, marketing communications manager and the such like. But actually, I would argue that most of what we see in L&D from a, in inverted commas, marketing perspective is actually more like communications. Communications are all about conveying a message. That's pretty much it. So marketing is much more customer-centered, more customer-oriented with a view to sell, influence, persuade, engage, activate, instigate action, whatever it might be. Whereas communications are more about that back and forth communication between your audience and the business. So this is the difference between you saying we've got a new learning program, here it is, communication, versus if you want to upskill yourself, if you want X, Y, or Z benefit, if you want more salary, if you want more benefits, if you want more management recognition, we've got a new opportunity for you. Obviously, that boils down to copywriting and things like that. But on a nutshell, communication is really just about that message between the audience and yourself. Is more about sharing information. And marketing is much more, in my mind, about influencing. So communication is about conveying specific messages that aren't necessarily related to selling something, whereas marketing is much more about trying to compel, engage, influence, persuade. And the reason that we need both of these is because the end goals for both of these things should be quite different. Let's have a look at what that means. So, where marketing is more concerned with customer behavior, how best to influence a customer's perception of a product or a service, and in case you haven't been listening, that's your learning offering. Communication is more concerned with critical thinking, problem solving to get necessary information across, right? So communication is more about information, marketing is more about influence. As you can see, both things have value when we are trying to reach our audiences, because there are times when our people just need some basic information. They need to know when their learning workshops are available. They need to know where to go to access learning. They need to know what's available to them. That messaging may well sit within the communications aspect, whereas proving the value of learning, proving that they should invest their time with your learning offering, proving to them that there is benefit to them investing their time is marketing. So this is just a short episode as a reminder that marketing is not communications and communications is not marketing. We need both aspects in order to have an effective strategy around communications and marketing in our learning function. We need to consider both. And that is part of an important strategy, is how do those two cadences work together? What is the critical business information that needs to be communicated to audiences? And how does that overlap with your marketing efforts in terms of influence? So make sure that you don't conflate the two. Make sure that they're separated in your mind, because they have different purposes, they have different goals, and they should be therefore treated differently. So there's a reason this is called marketing for learning, not communications for learning, because whilst the two things are related, where we really need to hone our skills, well, to be honest, we need to hone our skills across both in terms of even just consistent cadences. But, where the big opportunity lay, in my opinion, is doing marketing better, learning how we can write more effective copy to instigate audiences. And so, yeah, not quite a rant, but definitely something I'm seeing kind of used interchangeably a lot. And they are distinct, and we need both. And, we need to think more about consistency, cadences when it comes to communication. And marketing is more about that persuasion piece. So there you go. That's my rant for this week. Communications and marketing, friend or foe.